one. So once again, I want to thank, sorry, 1 second. I think I'm making a mistake there. Hold on. Yeah, because if I don't do that, it's not going to work. Right. So once again, I want to welcome our next speaker of the day. Today, 6th of May, 2024. We've been here since 10 o'clock or even few minutes past 10, and we've been eating raw food and engaging our mindsets and adding more knowledge to us so that we can break free from ignorance and lack of understanding. So, and that is why I want to appreciate all our great professors and leaders that have really shared with us from the beginning of this May 2024. So we took out of our time from the masterclass since Friday, and then we did a very massive conference, transformational leadership conference for 2 days. And now we are back to our learning section. So I want to appreciate all our great leaders that have shared with us and all our great learners, both on Zoom link and also Facebook. Thank you so much, Professor Nada, for joining us. Inga, thank you for joining us. Isaiah Kwangwi, thank you for joining us. We have Ambassador Rita Ilori, thank you for joining us. And many, many more. We really appreciate you. I want to also thank Dr. Samina. I'm still missing Dr. Stephen. Maybe he went to work today or something, but I know that anytime he's free, he will surely join us maybe tomorrow. So let's welcome Dr. Subrata Chattopadhyay. I hope I got that right. And he's going to be sharing with us on diplomatic personalities and relationships. And also Dr. Subrata from India has an MSc, MBA, PhD from IIT, ISM, Durban, adopted at innovative teaching practices. He is highly networked with the industry. He not only teaches, but also practices, and his students do adore him for the same. That's what Professor Ravida was talking about. When you make yourself the role model and a student can draw closer to you and also learn from you in a very great way. He has contributed in more than 30 international journals and has published more than 23 papers in seminars and conferences. Besides, he has authored 3 massive books on computation in estate management, transport management, and values and ethics for engineer and manager. Dr. Subrata is associate as life member with ISTD, CMA, PRSI, NIPM, NHRD, NFED, and ISABS, and does mentoring and consulting for various organizations. He is also associated. Dr. Subrata has been awarded and recognized as the Outstanding Higher Education Leader of the Year by SOE Global Education Award in 2024 and recognized by NFED for his contribution to mentoring startups, teaching and research for 2 consecutive years, 2023 and 2013 and 2014. He was conferred the prestigious MTC Global Top Thinker Award in 2015 and Mentor of the Year by HRD in India. Dr. Subrata is on editorial board as well of 5 international journals, an NED-DST government of India recognized faculty on entrepreneurship and a mentor to startups. He is a mentor of change in the Atta Innovation Mission of Government of India and has been conferred the prestigious Satisfied Management Teacher by MTC. He has successfully chaired and invited as keynote speaker in several national and international conferences in South Asia. So, permit me to welcome Dr. Subrata from India to share his wealth of knowledge and wisdom this afternoon. You are welcome, sir.
So very good morning, good afternoon, good evening. Revered Ma, it is a real pleasure to always conduct these master classes. And, Ma has been so kind, to give me an opportunity, and she loves to hear my sessions. And I'm glad that all the esteemed ambassadors of YYCI, as well as the different parts of the world, uh, you get enriched by the knowledge that I provide, or rather, I try to provide with God's blessings. So, with that, let me start today's session. Now, this is, this topic is about diplomatic personalities and how do you manage relations with diplomatic personality. Now, to begin with, let me first tell you about the different diplomatic personality types. So, basically, when we talk about diplomatic personality types, they typically possess qualities such as empathy, tactfulness, adaptability, and excellent communication skills. And these are people who excel in situations that require negotiation, mediation, and relationship building. Now, there are different examples of diplomatic personality types. So, first of all, in the first half of my session, I'll be talking about the 6 diplomatic personality types. And after that, I'll be covering that how do you manage and maintain and excel in relationships with diplomatic personality types. So, starting off with the first personality type is a mediator. So, these individuals are idealistic, compassionate, and seek harmony in relationships. And we see these diplomatic personality types in our family, that is, in our personal life, and our professional life. So, they are skilled at understanding different perspectives and finding common ground. Now, as you can understand over here, understanding different perspectives and finding a common ground. So these are people who actually want, so they are mediators, meaning they will come in between and try to understand both the people. Now, if you want to understand both the people's problems and try to give solutions to that, then you need to empathize. You need to put yourself in the other person's shoes and actually understand from their perspective. And then, uh, come up with a solution which may be viable, which may be feasible, which may be acceptable to both. So these are mediators. So you will see that, say, for example, two executives in an office, they have differences in opinion. And what happens is that, you know, the boss or someone senior comes and, tries to explain them that you are also right, you are also right, but then, this is, the issue, and this can be amicably solved if you do, certain things. Now, let me tell you, an interesting story over here, right? Now, this type of mediators are actually not wanted, uh, but you know, mediation happens in this form as well. So, since we are talking about diplomatic personalities, let us move to the animal kingdom. So, what happened is that there were two monkeys who were actually uh, fighting over a piece of bread, right? And they were saying that one was saying that I have more, and the other was saying I have less, right? And what happened is there was a cunning fox, and the cunning fox was passing by the way, and you know it stood in front of the monkeys and said, what is your problem? And they said that, well, so each one tried to complain against the other. So one said that he is taking more than the half. The other is taking, he is taking more than half. Now the fox said, okay, I understand. So mediator, the fox said, well, I understand. So you see, I'll solve your problem. And what the fox did? So the one who said first that he has more, he said, yes, you have more. So let me do something. Let me eat a little bit of the bread and let me make it half. The moment he made it, now the other person said, oh, now, he has more. Okay. So again, he said, okay, so he went to the other person and he ate a little portion of that bread. And, after some time, what happened is that almost 80 to 90% of the bread is gone. So both of them could not have the bread. So this is a famous story of Aesop fables, which I thought that I would share over here. So the fox over here is the diplomatic personality, and what happens is many a times mediators play this type of role, which is not empathy at all, but then being diplomatic uh, also leads to unfair advantages. So then we have diplomats. So diplomats are actually insightful, altruistic, and have a strong sense of integrity. So you will find the great leaders, many of the great leaders, they are actually diplomats, right? Even if you are talking about the civil servants, they are diplomats. So they are adept at navigating complex social dynamics and are often trusted mediators in conflicts. So we have mediators, and then we talked about diplomats. Then you have consul. So you have consul generals in the different offices, in the different embassies, right? So consuls are basically sociable, supportive. They are highly attuned to the needs of others. They excel in creating a warm and inclusive atmosphere and making them effective in roles that require diplomacy and that require consensus building. So these are consuls. And then the other form of diplomatic personality is that of a campaigner. Who are campaigners? Campaigners are actually enthusiastic, charismatic, creative people who are adept at connecting with others. They are skilled at diffusing tension through the natural charm and optimism. So you will see, you know, uh, film actresses, celebrities, right? They are campaigners. So they actually diffuse any sort of, uh, you know, miscommunication by their diplomacy. So their natural charm, their optimism, so they can diffuse the tension by that. Then you have protagonists. So protagonists are charismatic leaders who are passionate about inspiring others and fostering positive change. So they are skilled communicators and excel in the roles that require diplomacy and persuasion. So you find that CEOs or owners of different organizations, they are charismatic leaders, and they are passionate about inspiring leaders. That means they are very good at leadership skills, and they bring about a positive change in the organization. So to bring about a positive change in the organization, they have to be skilled communicators, and they have to excel in the rules of diplomacy and persuasion. So let us say that the CHRO of an organization uh, found that maybe a middle level manager or a senior manager wants to resign and move on to a different organization. So the manager has to the CHRO has to persuade so that this person has to stay back. Now, how will you do that? So you may say that that can be a salary hike, or a position hike, a professional role hike, or something like that. But then, in the present position with the present salary, how do you negotiate, and how do you make the person understand that he is valued in the organization and he should not move to a competitor organization but stay on with the present organization? So for that, you need people who are protagonists. So people who are charismatic in nature, who are passionate. So passion is very important. You have to be passionate. You have to be you have to have perseverance. You have to have patience, and you need to understand. So the other way is also possible by charismatic leaders, which is that, say, someone is a super performer in a competing organization, but you want, to have his knowledge, skills, and abilities in your organization. So you will find headhunters in different organizations. They are people who are actually very specially skilled to do so. So what they do is that they actually, start relationship building, and very tactfully they manage to make them understand that there is a better opportunity in a competing organization. And you know many a times they are successful in, I should not use the word, but then the correct word is poaching, that is taking them away from one organization to the other. So that requires a charismatic diplomacy as a protagonist. The next and the last type of diplomatic personality are advocates. So who are advocates? Advocates are insightful, principled individuals who are deeply committed to their values, and they are skilled at advocating for their causes they believe in, and are effective at navigating the complex social dynamics with empathy and tact. So advocates are those who remain committed to their values, and they actually advocate for the causes that they believe in and are effective. They exercise empathy and tact and maintain advocacy in relationship building. So I'll now move on to what are the traits, or what are the qualities required to maintain and manage relations with the different diplomatic personality types. The very first thing is understanding the communication, the body language, the style, the preference, right? And also to read the other people's mind. So if you are a diplomatic personality, it is very important. You need to understand what goes in someone's mind. Okay. So that is a very specified and very select and niche type of skill that you need to acquire. It it doesn't happen just like that, but it is years of practice that you can do so, you can achieve so. Okay, so you need to understand the communication styles, the preference, and the values. So how do you manage relationships with diplomatic individuals? The first is respect their need for harmony. So diplomatic individuals, they actually value harmony and avoid conflict. So many a times you will find that diplomatic individuals are stoic in nature, and you'll find that people at the top management of organizations, they do not give their reactions to the different things. They remain calm, they remain cool, and come whatever the situation, they always they actually meditate, and you know they uh, try to find out that what can be the best possible solution to a problem. So it is very important that you understand that diplomatic individuals value harmony and avoid conflict wherever possible. And when interacting with them, try to maintain a respectful and harmonious atmosphere. So when you are interacting with the diplomatic personalities, be respectful, be harmonious, and do not tell anything or show anything which may cause any tiff, which may cause any differences, right? The next and the most important thing which I told at the outset is be empathetic and understanding. So show empathy towards the perspectives and their perspectives and emotions. So diplomatic individuals appreciate being listened to and understood. So at times you will find diplomatic individuals, they are not, I will say that they are not autocratic in nature, but then they would always want that whatever their thought processes are, with their vast experience and expertise, their subordinates or peers actually pay heed to them. So it is always tact that when you are interacting with diplomatic personalities, try to understand that they appreciate being listened to and understood, and validate their feelings and concerns, even if you may not agree with them entirely. So when they are telling something, try to validate that with their feelings and concerns. Maybe, off the line or at a different point of time, you can explain to them that, well, what you said, there was, these are my thoughts. Now, the rest is on you. So don't go into any sort of conflict. Rather, try to understand, listen to them, and try to recognize what they are saying, validate their feelings and concerns, though you may not agree with them entirely. The next is communicate openly and honestly. So diplomatic individuals appreciate honesty and transparency in communication. So honesty and transparency in the communication process is the key to maintaining relationships with diplomatic personalities. So always it is advisable to be upfront about your intentions, about your concerns, about your expectations. And as I always say that you will find that diplomatic personalities, like great leaders, right? They have to face so many situations and many new situations and complex situations that if they lose their cool, they will not be able to manage. And also, after a day long toil, they also have to have a good night's sleep. So, they have to keep their cool, composed, and they have to handle different situations. Hence, honesty, transparency in the communication process, and a clear cut communication is very important. So when you deal with diplomatic personalities, try to avoid passive or aggressive behavior, or any manipulation tactics, as they can undermine the trust. And as I always say, that it takes years to build trust, but it takes seconds to break the trust. And with diplomatic personalities, you will find that they do not trust people maybe over years. One of my directors used to say that to understand, and one vice chancellor also under whom I work. So they say that it takes at least 2 to 3 years to understand a particular person, and then only you know you can actually judge that what may be the roles that he or she may be fitted into. So it takes years to understand a particular person's traits, their skill sets, and how they can be of use in an organization. The next is seek common ground. So diplomatic individuals excel at finding common ground and building a consensus. So focus on areas of agreement, focus on the shared goals, try to foster collaboration and cooperation while dealing with diplomatic individuals. So these are basically, the uh, things that you should do while you are maintaining relationships with diplomatic personalities. And I talked about the different types of diplomatic personalities in the first half. And the second half was how do you deal with the different types of diplomatic personalities, and uh, the way of communication, understanding, empathizing uh, with the diplomatic personalities. So uh, this was all about the session on managing diplomatic personalities and relationship management with diplomatic personalities. Thank you so much, YYCI and Vidyatma, for the opportunity.
You,
So,
you now know the reason why I can call you professor. Because anytime we give you topic to treat, you research it, you go extra length, and then you deliver successfully.
thank you.
And that's all what we need. Thank you so much for delivering it for us this morning. And also thank you for accepting our apology for running late this morning.
It's okay,
Because I know you are also busy professor. Okay, busy doctor. Which one? So thank you so much. I really appreciate that. And may I ask one request? Because I was struggling when you were talking about the types of diplomatic types, diplomatic personality types. I was struggling. If it's possible for us to have your note, is it
yes,
possible?
definitely.
Okay, you're
I'll
gonna
share
send
with
it to me? Okay, please, so that I can, because I really want to understand it more the way you are explaining it to us, because it's a very, very, very important topic that we don't want to shy away from it, and we want to see way of improving ourselves in that area. I also like the way that you've said that understanding communication is very important in our diplomatic personalities development. And also we have to look into our body language. We have to look into the style that we want to use to communicate with people, because the way we communicate might be different. For example, if I'm going to communicate with say lecturers, the professors, it will be different from the way I'm going to communicate with a student in primary school, secondary school, and even university. And also, even if we're building our relationship with our spouse, there is also a different communication style that we use in that area. I could have loved to ask you more questions about that on the communication style, but I believe you are still going to come back unless if you have the answer now. on communication style, because I really want to know more about that.
I've already shared the, whatever I said on your WhatsApp.
Okay, okay, okay. All right. So, okay, great, great, great. Thank you so much. Thank you so much. That is great. Yeah. Oh, thank you so much. Yeah. And like I was saying, communication style will be another issue that I would like it to do with. I'm hearing it for the first time. I think it's something to, well, I don't want to assume. I want you to teach us on that communication style. Do you want to elaborate it for us, or do you want to wait for another time to elaborate it for us?
So you're talking about the
Communication, yeah,
communication
communication
style.
style, yes.
Um, well, see, when we talk about communication styles, it can be dealt with in different ways,
Okay.
right? So, you know, one very simple is that when you are with your family, with your personal life, your communication style is different because each one of us we take up different roles,
Mm-hmm.
right? So the communication style has to be different in different areas, right? So maybe we don the hats of father or a son or maybe a teacher or maybe a manager, right? So we have to don multiple hats. We have to take up multiple hats, and hence the communication styles will be different,
Okay.
right? But then uh, what is important in also, when you talk about communication styles, the communication styles are very different across the different cultures,
Mhm.
uh, across different countries, and even if you are speaking the same language, right, the communication style will be different. Okay, so uh, for instance, if we are talking about a vast country like India, right? The communication style of North Indians is entirely different from South Indians. I don't mean any harm to anyone, but I'm just telling.
Mhm.
And West and East is also very different. So what is important is that when you are communicating, the communication style, you should have positive gesture, posture, uh, positive body language, and that should be a positive stroke that should come out. Okay, uh, negative energy should not be there. Like when I was in my previous organization, I used to wait for my dean, who used to come in a vehicle, right? For him to come, and I used to have breakfast with him. Now, he was such a person, he was very diplomatic in nature, in a sense that, he used to think more and speak less. And many a times, uh, when you communicating with him, right, you would actually feel that you are drained out.
Mm.
So that's negative energy, right? So, and I have found other people also telling that, well, uh, they have also faced negative energy from him. I'll just tell one instance. So there was one visitor, uh, a visiting faculty, and I just found out that we studied in the same college. So I was discussing with him, and he was having his breakfast, and then he told me that why are you interacting so much with him, right? Now you see, um, there is a liberty of people to interact with anyone of their choice. But then, as long as you don't cross barriers, so the communication style should be that when you are dealing with your subordinates or your juniors, right? you should actually encourage them, enthuse them, and not make them feel demoralized. So that should be the proper communication style. So communication style is such, it's a very vast area.
Vice versa, yeah.
It's a vast area,
Mm,
and there is a lot that can be discussed about the communication styles
mm,
across different regions, cross-cultural communication styles. Uh, in fact, in one of the sessions, I talked about the difference in the communication style of the Japanese and the Americans, if you remember, right, about the business negotiation. So Americans are very aggressive in nature and they want fast solutions, whereas Japanese are very slow thinkers and they take judicious decisions after a long time. So
mm.
communication styles are very different, right? So um, this is a very, very interesting study about the people in the different countries, what their communication styles are. And many a times, the communication style, revered Ma, let me also tell you, is also influenced by the weather conditions, by the climatic conditions also,
Mm,
right? So that also has an impact on the communication style. Um, so you will find that people from who are in desert, who are from desert or arid regions, or maybe mountainous regions, hilly regions, etc. They're very hardy, sturdy, and they want they want things to be done fast. So because they are very hardworking in
yeah.
nature. On the other hand, you will find that in places where things go very slow,
Mm,
right? So over there, the communication process is hindered a lot because people are lethargic and they don't want to be proactive in nature. So
yeah.
these are different perspectives which are
Yes.
there about
Mm.
communication styles.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much for elaborating it for us. I really, really appreciate that. And I believe that others as well has really learned from this uh, diplomatic personalities and relationship. Dr. Samina, do you have any questions before we round up today? Because we are close to 2 now. We need to go for rest. Okay, Dr. Samina, any
Mm.
question?
Yeah. First of all, I appreciate the style and the knowledge with which you, Dr. Sprata, elaborate it, explain it. It is very nice, the six types of diplomatic personalities and the communication style. Also, I think the style is a person and a person is a style.
Hmm.
So, mm, most of people used to say this, that a style is a person and a person is style. So, we have to make the style and we have to focus on the style because the style is a person and a person is style and its quality is um, that a person has. So you are doing it in very much detail and it is very good. And so the communication style is also very important. I am hoping that you will tell us about it, that communication style is very important of a person because this is a style. When we talk to different people, they we judge them with their style, with their communication, with that